Hey everybody, what's up, Luke Titan? It's 9:15 on Tuesday night, and came home. Long day. Decided to do some reading. I've invested in John Maxwell lately. I've been reading a lot of his stuff. He's a leadership guy, and I just read a chapter today that I thought was particularly poignant and relevant for anybody that might be in the 6-week challenge or in the gym, just period. And it's the law of the mirror. I'm going to do my best to relay what I just read to you because it impacted me, and maybe it can help you. And I know that self-image is a big deal in the gym. I mean, we join the gym to get a better self-image. I mean, that's the motive for a lot of us. I mean, for some of us, the doctor says if you don't work out, like, you're going to die, and that's like obviously a great reason to get in the gym. But for many of us, it's for self-image. I know it's for me. For me, I place so much value on how tan or white or burnt my skin is, or like how many of my abs show, and like a lot of truth is in jest, right? And we joke about putting on a couple of pounds, but like a lot of my self-worth comes from whether I can see my abs, and it's ridiculous. So this chapter was it was really good. So I'm going to share some of it too, some with you. I hope you like it. And the law of the mirror, and the law of the mirror basically works like this. If this is where you see yourself, right? Let's say it's a 5 out of 10, 1 out of 10. You see yourself here. The level of performance, the level of success, the level of achievement will never go higher than this. Wherever you see yourself, your mirror, your reflection, the level of your success will always stop there. I thought that was pretty powerful. Another way of putting it is, it's impossible for me or you to consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent with how I see myself. So if I see myself as a 3, it'll be impossible for me to consistently behave as an 8. There may be days that I behave as an 8, but I'll never be consistent. Now, I've been in the gym 7 years, and I see this all the time. I see people who join the gym, who get caught up in the emotion of success, who lose a couple pounds, but they've never left the image of their fat, lazy self behind. They still attribute those negative characteristics that they've either labeled themselves, or their parents have labeled them, or their neighbors have labeled them, or their ex-wife or their ex-husband or their kids have labeled them. Those labels, they look in the mirror and they see those labels. And so they are still a 3. And while every once in a while they behave at an 8 because of a motivational video or a good class or a good environment, I cannot consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent with how I see myself. Another lesson is you will always move towards your self-image. So if you see yourself as a 3, you will move towards a 3. If you start to see yourself as a 5 because of the environment, because of, 6-week challenge, you dive into the gym, you start to read the material, you invest in yourself, you watch the videos, you commit to small changes every day. And you start to see yourself as maybe not fat anymore. Maybe I'm kind of fit. You ever heard people in the gym, or have you ever been like, hey, I'm kind of fit now. It's almost like you can't yet say I'm fit. You refuse to say I'm fit. I'm kind of fit. It's like softening, because like if somebody beats you in a workout, then you can be like, well, I'm only kind of fit. I'm not really fit. Obviously, I'm not beating that person in a workout. You ever heard somebody say I'm kind of fit? Have you ever done it? So you start to move towards that. Oh, I start to lift a little heavier. I'm kind of strong. I'm trying 95 pounds this week, or kind of fit. I'm going to do the whole 800 meters. And then you do the 800 meters and you're like, I can do 800 meters. You will always move towards the level of your self-image. How we see ourselves determines how we invest in ourselves. If I look in the mirror and I see myself as a 3, then I will invest in myself to the level of a 3. If I see myself as a 5, I'll invest in myself to levels of 5. I'll give you another example. I grew up in a trailer park. I tell my wife this. She tells me that she grew up in a house in Connecticut with no heat. And we try to outpour each other. Who was poorer, right? Have you ever had that conversation? Guess how poor I am. I own a business now. My wife and I are the opposite of rich. Every penny we make goes back into everything that we provide you guys and 20 employees. Our money takes care of Marky, Dylan and Joe and Tyler and Angel and Ken and Jillian and Cheryl and Don. But I just went to Miami. I went to Miami to go to a growth conference to hear successful people speak. At that growth conference, I put $3,000 of self-improvement material on a credit card. I did that because I have a rich self-image. I believe in the things that I can achieve, and so I invest in things that I think are valuable for helping me achieve those things. The first person that you should invest in is yourself. Once you invest in yourself, then you give other people the belief that they can invest in you. Don't let anybody else invest in you before you invest in you, was one of his messages. Our belief in ourselves. This is the fourth thing. Rule of the mirror, law of the mirror. Number 4, if I remember correctly. Our belief in ourselves or our abilities influences the belief that others have in us. It's almost like determining what our price is. The story that he told, I thought was really relevant, being a police officer, was of a conversation he had with William Bratton. William Bratton is the guy most famous known for turning New York City around with Mayor Giuliani. And he said, day one, this is the story he relayed to John Maxwell, and this is what John Maxwell relays in his book. And he said, day one, he invites the 5 chiefs from the 5 boroughs into a meeting, and he says, I want to know, can you lower crime? And 3 of them say, we can't lower it, but we can keep it where it is. We can keep the lid on it. And 2 of them say, yes, no problem, we can definitely lower it. John says, well, what'd you do? Chief Bratton says, well, I fired the 3 people that didn't think they could lower it. Right then and there, boom, you're gone, you're fired. Why invest in a leader who doesn't believe he can accomplish the mission? Well, replace him with 3 people that believe that they can lower the crime, and I bet you with 5 people who believe they can lower the crime, they can lower the crime. If you believe in yourself, if you believe that you can run the mile, I bet you run the mile. If you believe that you can lose the weight, I bet you lose the weight. If you believe, that's step 1. Now you got to get the tools and you got to have the action, you got to have the discipline. But if you don't believe in yourself, there's no way you're going to achieve it, even with the tools and all that stuff. So okay, well, that's the law of the mirror. What is the action? What is the action or the actions that we can take? How can we? What can we do? So one is guard our self-talk. The most important voice you'll ever hear is your own. The most important words you'll ever hear are your own. The most important thoughts you'll ever have are your own. There are plenty of successful people who have been successful and nobody's believed that they could be successful. I didn't believe they could do it, and they did it. I don't know anybody who is successful who didn't believe that they could be successful. If they didn't believe it, I don't know anybody that's made $1 million that never thought they could. Okay. 2, get a win every day. Every day, get a win. Make it up if you have to. Make it a joke. Get a win. Small win every day. They build. Like a snowball rolling downhill. Get a win every day. Use the mirror to look at yourself, not to look at others. And what he was talking about here, I believe, is introspection. Do they like me should not be more important than do I like me. Do they like me should not be more important than I like me. John Wooden is known for a quote, a famous quote. He said, do not be too concerned with what others think of you. Be very concerned with what you think of you. John Wooden. And lastly, the concept, probably the concept that I like the most, is add value to others. One of the greatest ways to improve your self-image is to lose yourself in finding others. You'll start to see the reflection back. When the other person is grateful and thankful for the things you did for them, they start to attribute value to you. And you start to see their recognition of value in you, and then you start to believe in yourself. So one of the greatest ways to improve your self-image is to lose yourself in finding others. Do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. You know, emotions follow actions. If you want to feel good, do good. If you're depressed, sing. If you're depressed, laugh. If you're sad, lift. You know, it's why we encourage disabled veterans and police officers and those struggling with depression and suicide to get to the gym. Your emotions follow your actions. If you do something that is genuinely positive or makes you feel positive, your emotions will follow that. I got two more things to leave you with, and one is a quote from Ken Keith. I wrote it down here. It's really, really good. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of having selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men with the smallest minds. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but may attack you if you do actually help them. Help people anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you'll get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. I'll leave you with this. We see others not as they are. We see others as we are. Increase your self-image, and you will start to see the people around you in a better light. Raise the level of your reflection. Guys, that's it. That's my thoughts for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you thought it relevant. And do good. Be good. And you will be. Good night, guys.